Okay, so now we're in Genesis 49, and we're continuing in verse 13 with the blessing of Zebulun. And man, it's taken me a few weeks to really meditate on this and to do some research. And when I do this commentary, I don't want to move forward until I get like this aha moment for God, where I believe God spoke through me. That started when I started my commentary on Matthew, and hopefully everything when I'm done. Of course, I'll have a video on all the verses of the Bible, but I also would like to put it all on in book form. But man, with Zebulun, it's so interesting. So let me read it for you and then tell you what the aha moment I had. And so it says this in verse 13: Zebulun shall dwell by the haven of the sea. He shall become a haven for ships, and his border shall adjoin or be next to Sidon. And so the interesting thing is when you look at a map, Zebulun is in between the Mediterranean Sea. The Mediterranean is on the left, and the Sea of Galilee is on the right, and Sidon is above it, but it's not touching any of them. And so, man, it just made me think that, the water is symbolic of the presence of God. Sidon means fishing or fishery, and so that makes us think of ministry. And so, man, it just made me think that Zebulun was so close to the presence of God and ministry, and it didn't touch it. So I was like, man, so many people are like that. They've got the Bible around them, they've got small groups around them, but they don't read the Bible, or they don't go to a small group, or they don't spend time with God in prayer. So many people are close to ministry. Ministry's happening all around them, but they're not getting involved in it. And Zebulun means a habitation. And so, man, it just made me think that so many people are so close to what's happening, but they don't get involved. They don't spend time with God. They don't spend time reading His Word. They don't spend time in a small group, and they don't spend time in ministry. They're so close to what they could have, but they stay small, and they just inhabit close to things, but they don't get involved with them. So, man, recently I've been waking up and I'm trying to, it's just so easy to get busy and to neglect time with God. And so recently I've started saying that the first thing I need to do is just bow down before God and just enjoy Him and rest in Him. And so I usually go when I bow down before God, I'm like, God, thank you that you love me, that you're for me. Who can be against me? And you didn't spare your own Son, so how will you not with Him freely give me all things? Those are verses I learned from Romans 8. And I just enjoy God, and then I just enjoy time with Him. And then usually other verses will come to my mind, and it restores my soul. The other day it was Jeremiah 29:11, where He knows the plans He has for me, plans to prosper me and not to harm me, to give me hope in the future. And of course, I'm not really worried about financial prosperity. I'm worried about ministry prosperity. I'm worried about bringing more people to Jesus. And so I just held on to that promise that God has prosperity for me, that He will through me bring more people to Himself. That's the prosperity I want, because that's eternal and not temporary. So it just made me think, man, here I am, I've just neglected that for so many days. And at any moment I could bow down before God. I was close to it, but I didn't do it. But I've started doing it. And oh man, to start the day enjoying who I am in God and letting Him speak to me is huge. There's a small group that's been happening 5 minutes from my house. And I heard about it, but I didn't join it until, I don't know, maybe 3 months ago. I don't know if it's even been that long, but it nourishes me, right? And so just think about that, man, at any moment, and I think we should start our day bowing before God. And man, what small groups are around you of people who get together, who love God, they want to know Him more, and they're studying the Bible together. Is that close to you? Well, it doesn't matter if you're not actually touching it, if you're not going to it. And then what ministry is happening around you? So may this be a good picture for you, and a good defining moment, that it doesn't matter if you're close to all these things. You need to be touching them. You need to be involved with them. And so, at least now, if we look at the map, Zebulun doesn't fulfill this prophecy by his father, but maybe in the 1,000-year reign, Zebulun will be extended to touching those three things.